comic book fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host, as always, Cammy. Now, we have quite the diverse show this week, so let's make like the Black Eyed Peas and, well, get this party started. First up, the pick of the week from Vertigo, we have Fables number 81, written by Bill Willingham and art by Buckingham. Now, for the past few issues, Fabletown has just collapsed, been destroyed. No one knows why, everyone's kind of freaking out, so everyone has to relocate to the farm. In the middle of this whole thing, little boy Blue, you know, the guy who's on the horn, he is dying from a war wound from the Great War. A piece of arrow got infected in his arm, and they've had to amputate it, and he's been dying ever since. The doctors don't know what to do. What magic can they possibly perform to save Boy Blue? But in the meantime, back at Fabletown, the monster of an individual named Mr. Dark has been released, and he has conquered Fabletown as his own. Well, the rubble, anyway. He decides to make a grand headquarters, and that's going to be his base, because apparently he's been the source of the Witching Cloak and the Witching Well, both that the Fables have used in the past. And so now he wants to meet these people who's been leeching off his powers and get his revenge. This guy's creepy. He'll eat your skull, then every time he spits out one of your teeth, you rise up and do his bidding until you die. And, you know, if you have a lot of teeth, then he can resurrect you quite a few times, and you're his slave. It's pretty fucking creepy. So that's what he has going for him. Meanwhile, back on the farm, everyone's saying their last goodbyes and farewells to Boy Blue. Even Ambrose, aka Flycatcher, tries to use all of his power, all of his magic, because this guy is very powerful. We learned this a few arcs ago. But he can't do anything. He can't even help resurrect Boy Blue, and he is just heartbroken. And so it seems to come to the inevitable, and Rose Red decides to say her last goodbye to him. And they've had some friction in the past, because Boy Blue wanted to make something out of it. Rose Red didn't want to make it. She wanted to be friends, you know, because she likes the heroes. And Boy Blue points this out. He says, that's the reason you want to marry me right now, is because I'm the biggest hero in the room. I'm dying. Look at your track record. Jack, Sinbad, Prince Charming. He just gives her the ultimate bitch slap. And it's kind of sad, but at the same time, you're like, it's totally true. She's a bitch, especially if she wants to marry him now on his deathbed. So anyway, this issue ends with the passing of little Boy Blue. And his last wishes are to be buried up on the hillside, overlooking the baseball field in Ambrosia's kingdom. It's very sad, but the thing I liked about this death was it wasn't your usual comics death, where there's some huge event, and there's a shocking death, or there's a battle and explosions and everything, and the hero's finally dead, or... It's none of that. It's something simple. It's something beautiful. And it's one of those deaths where he might come back to life, but you just hope that he does stay dead, because that way his death really means something. And it almost brought a tear to my eye, because I've been loving this series. And to see one of the major characters go like this, you just want to give him a 21-horn salute. So R.I.P. Boy Blue, and if you're not reading Fables, go out and read it now. Now, on to the Fast Five. First up, from Dark Horse, we have B.P.R.D, the Black Goddess number 2. Now, in the past issue, the B.P.R.D is after Gilfried because he has kidnapped Liz Sherman. They'd say, hey, we're going to follow you. And they find him in the mountain ranges on the Chinese and Russian border. They go through his magical kingdom, and apparently they have him all wrong. He has a bigger use for Liz Sherman. He wasn't kidnapping her, he was training her. Because looks like the frogs have found out where they are, and looks like Gilfried is that ally that they didn't know and didn't expect to have. So it's War on Frogs. Next issue is going to be a big battle with Gilfried and the B.P.R.D. working side by side, and who knows, Liz Sherman might be the ultimate weapon. Very good series. Highly recommend it. Next up from Avatar Entertainment, we have Gravel number 9. Now this is a book 2 in this Gravel series written by Warren Ellis. The first book, in the first 8 issues, Gravel was going around and killing the Minor Seven, which were these group of magicians. And turns out now he's ready for the Majors. The Major Sevens, that is. But he's taking the place of a Major Seven who was murdered, and they don't know how. So it's his job to investigate her death. And even though he's just a trained soldier and that's all he knows how to do, something in his gut tells him that he's in for more than he bargained for. If you're looking for like Harry Potter for more mature audiences, I would check out Gravel. I really would. Next up, from DC Comics, we have Green Lantern Corps number 33. Now, in this issue, the planet Daxam, the home planet of Ion, aka Sodom and Yat, has been infiltrated by none other but Mongol. Except Mongol doesn't even lift a finger of his. His severed arm, that's the one actually going around conquering this planet. And then he puts a huge bat signal up for the rest of the Sinestro Corps to come and do his bidding. Sinestro Corps gather around. They go, oh, what's this about? This is our new headquarters. And he says, you know, I'm your leader, so that's it. And everyone's like, wait, why should you be in charge of the Sinestro Corps? Like, you're not Sinestro, you're Mongol. Why don't you go make the Mongol Corps? Anyway, one guy in particular, I have something to say about it, and it's Arkillo. And so it's going to be a battle of the death between Arkillo and Mongol, and winner gets Daxam and the Sinestro Corps, more importantly. My question is, where's Sinestro in all this? Isn't he going to come back and go, hey, what the fuck? Can't I leave you kids alone for 2 seconds? But no, you got to go off and make your own corps and say, I'm in charge now. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't think Sinestro would say that word for word. Then it'd have to be a Vertigo book, but still. Food for thought, people. Food for thought. Next up from Marvel, we have Thor number 600. Now, the thing I really enjoyed about this, even though it has a $5 price tag, you get 90 pages of just Thor. You get the main story, which is, it's Loki. Loki's gone back in time, and he killed Bor, the father of Odin and grandfather of Thor. And now, in the present, he brings Bor back to life. And Bor goes on a rampage in New York because he is bewitched, and everything he sees is like he thinks he's in hell fighting demons. And Thor and Bor fight. Thor has no other choice but to kill Bor without even realizing it's his grandfather, which makes him the murderer of an Asgardian royalty. And so he is banished from Asgard by Balder, and Loki has everything in his clutches. And finally this week, from Icon Entertainment, we have Incognito number 2. Now, Sean Phillips and Ed Brubaker continue. It's only the second issue, but we find out a little bit more about the characters. Zack Overkill apparently was ratting on this one main villain called Black Death. Black Death is in, maximum security prison. Finds out that Zack Overkill's still alive, and he has some plans for him, because apparently back when Zack Overkill and his brother Xander were in his gang, they thought they were higher up, but they were a hit was on them. And Xander didn't make it, Zack did, and now, he's undercover. But now, he's working at nights just, fighting crime because it feels good. That's his drug. And even though he's under suspicion now and he has an alibi in place, the alibi wants something in return for not telling his dirty secret. He wants to rob a bank. So you get more bang for your buck in this issue. Incognito is a nice little, it's a nice little comic to hold us all over until Criminal gets back to its regular criminal time, regular criminal channel. So if you're looking for, more goodness, check out Incognito number 2. Highly, highly recommended from Camus Comic Corner. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Camus Comic Corner. If you want more Camus Comic Corner goodness, go to www.camuscomiccorner.com. From there, you can subscribe to us on the RSS feed or on iTunes. And I'm probably going to start this up, where if you leave a review on the iTunes music store for Camus Comic Corner, you'll get a little goodie bag of just single-issue comics that I have. Just a random goodie bag. And a U.S. iTunes store only, because apparently I can't see the ones from other countries. Found out the hard way, unfortunately. Also, if you like any of the comic book t-shirts that I'm wearing, or this custom-made CamusComicCorner.com t-shirt, head on over to www.deadlinegraphics.net and send Kelly an email. He'll send you his whole catalog of Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse comic book t-shirts. And there's hundreds to choose from. All of them great, great t-shirts. Are really fine quality. And he has a deal going on for February. 20% off all t-shirts in the month of February. So get on that. Like flies on poop, get on that, because this shit is hot, people. There's only one name that I trust in the comic book t-shirt industry, and that's Kelly, over at www.deadlinegraphics.net. Well, that really does do it for Friday the 13th. It's been a good show. But if you excuse me, I need to go get on my hockey mask and go kill some horny teenagers that are bugging me down at my campsite. So, until next Friday the 13th, or just next week, this has been Cammy's Comic Corner. I've been your host, Cammy, and I hope all of you have a wonderful week.